One way to think, the creatives are going to really thrive moving into the future because the AI will handle all of the logic. It's all about the AI-driven consumer. That's what you have to be worried about. You don't need to be worried about the agent next door to you, the agent down the street. If only one of you in the home is growing, you're going to outgrow everybody else. And if you're not creating an environment for everybody to grow, you're going to outgrow people and it's going to cause resentment. Because it goes back to, like, what is the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? Part of the goal was more time together, more family time. And I'm like, it goes exactly against the grain. If you want more family time, you running buyers, that less time. So I think it was just an important reminder for us to always be clear of what is the goal. Right? That's where it always starts. What's the goal?
So since we had that meeting, every listing appointment we've gone together, and we go together on all the listing appointments now and interact with the sellers, and there's no buyer stuff that's coming her way.
Yeah, just an extension of you, right? Just create more leverage.
And all your lead generation and marketing goes towards sellers. We're not targeting any buyers.
Right. Y'all know my belief, right? Like, go to sleep, wake up thinking about motivated sellers. And that's really...
I'm sure Leo's going to hit on listings today because that's what it's 30 years we've been doing this. That's all it's ever been about. More than ever.
I started coaching with John officially, so.
You did?
I did. Working together.
I think it's
It was good. But no, I mean, it's been great, more group coaching and just helping with both real estate business and my other business.
If I could blow his horn for a minute, John is the type of coach that isn't like in your face, you got to do this, you got to do it, but he's just sits back, listens, analyzes everything, and from a systems part of running a business and a team, I don't know anybody in this business that knows more than he does, really.
It's really good. It's always good to have another viewpoint because you guys are in it. We're all in the mix every day. And when you have a coach, that's someone who can see that 50,000 foot view and say, okay, well, if you just altered this, or what if you did this? And you get me to think, you don't my coach too. And that helps, right? Just that changing of the thinking and challenging. You don't have a coach.
I'm thinking about the direction where we're going with AI. So there was a great conversation this morning because she's using it the exact way I believe it should be used for. That's an extension of you and it's your thought partner, right? Has everybody read The AI-Driven Leader by Jeff Woods? You guys have to. Like, I'm going to load you down. What I've embraced over the last 3, 4, 5 years, I push it on all people I have the opportunity to work with. Everybody that's ever been a part of my team for the last 25 years, you're reading something and you're going through some training at all times. At all times. Like, literally, I don't have a spot for you in my life if you're not growing. That's also important in your home as well. If only one of you in the home is growing, you're going to outgrow everybody else. And if you're not creating an environment for everybody to grow, you're going to outgrow people and it's going to cause resentment because you're like, well, I got to stay tied to this person because we're family, or a lot of us bring family into our business, but you have to create a culture of constant growth. And so what are you reading? What are you learning? What are you going through? And I want to just push on you guys, like, don't do it for intellectual entertainment. Do it because it's helping you overcome something that you're really struggling with or something that you know you need to figure out. One of my questions that we threw in at Leo was, as agents moving into 26, 27, into 30 to 35, like, who do we have to become to be able to really thrive in this business? Because with AI, the thing that you guys have to think about is not agent next to me that uses AI or the agent next to me that doesn't use AI. The real threat that you guys have to be thinking about is the AI-driven consumer. You have to think about buyers and sellers and where they've leveled up their information. If you've been to Agent to CEO the last couple of years, then you got to see Who's. You got to see Who's. Eric was there. Geez, what's his name was there? But this is last time. It was amazing. Rick, really understanding kind of their methodology and understanding kind of the direction where things are going with AI. But it's all about the AI-driven consumer. That's what you have to be worried about. You don't need to be worried about the agent next door to you, the agent down the street, this agent in this market or that market. You need to be worried about the AI consumer. Okay, so what does that mean? So Eric, I had him on podcast middle of December. And actually, he told us in June. So I know Renee and Andrea were there at kitchen table in June, and he was on and he goes, listen, Kitch, do you know what the number one customer complaint is? I said, well, it's communication. He goes, it was communication. That has since changed. Does everybody know what the new complaint from buyers and sellers are?
They know more than the agent.
They know more than their real estate agent. I would say that's 95% true. There's the 5% of you that are in this room that are staying informed, that are continuing to grow, continuing to push. When you look at kind of some of the statistics I think what Eric shared with me in December was 82% of buyers have the same exact information or more than their real estate agent. So why do they believe that they know more than their real estate? Because they do. Another interesting fact, and this was the whole conversation started from, was that 93% of all AI searches did not end in a click. Did not end in a click. Think about that for a second.
So they're in their GPT looking for stuff.
Or Grok or Gemini or wherever they were. Okay. Out of the top 5 machines, 93% of the people that did a search did not click on the link.
So it's just educational or informative?
It was whatever the AI fed them or told them was that information, right? So I'm a Google guy. Like, that's probably never going to change unless Google went away. I don't know. Just ever since Google was available, I've been on Google. So I'm just ingrained to go to Google. However, if Gemini ain't giving me the information, I'm like, where are you? I don't want to look through links. So what does that mean for us as we're thinking about our content and thinking about the consumer and moving into the future? Not only, and this is pushing on Andrea about this just because her world revolves around social and content, I have to make content for my ICP. Does everybody know what an ICP is? My ideal client profile, right? We talk about avatars, but you want to talk about ideal clients. The reason you want to talk about ideal clients is because you can start to get into what their pain point is. Does everybody know who their ideal client is? A buyer, seller? Do you know exactly what their pain points are? Right? If you don't, listen, if you don't know who your person is, then you can't create a value proposition to overcome the problem that they have. I had a mentor tell me once, he goes, listen, I don't want to hear about your goals. He goes, honestly, your goals don't matter if you don't know what your value proposition to the market is. Because if you don't have a value proposition to the market, we'll go through this exercise after Leo. We'll go through this exercise to help you guys kind of identify if that is a real constraint for you. But you have to know the value proposition. That
Well, also with the Chat GPT, we did the event with Crown. And Nick's great. He's got that plug-in, Listing Buddy, that you can get for free. And he was explaining to us that if you're just writing your description in ChatGPT for your listings, but you're not doing it where it's optimized to show up, those consumers that are searching on there are not going to find your property.
100%.
And he's got it optimized where it's literally click it, put it in there, and it reconfigures it so it's showing up in GPT. So we've been doing that to make sure that listings are getting exposure. It's a free tool.
100%. You got to utilize that. So not only are you creating content for your person and their problem, remember, value proposition, you can either be a vitamin company or a painkiller. Vitamins are important. We can all agree on that. However, if you ain't got no money, you ain't buying no vitamins. But I promise you, if you have a pain, you'll hawk a kid, you'll lose a limb, whatever you got to do to make that pain go away. So what would you rather be? Would you rather be a vitamin company or a painkiller? The answer is painkiller, right? You're creating content for your person, but what Junior just talked about is you got to create content for the machine, and that's different. So if you're not quite figuring out how to do that in your marketing, in your messaging, you better figure it out.
I'll give you an example. We had a listing in Avon where we don't do a ton over in that area. And somebody else called me about listing their house after I optimized the description and said, Grok told us to call you.
100%.
And that was on one listing that we did, and it was just from optimizing it. Because we don't really advertise over there.
That's prime example right there. So you have to go to behavior, right? So we built a lot of our business off of radio, solid branding, radio and billboards. We had massive billboards on every main artery in our market. And so you just couldn't go anywhere without seeing us, right? That was like, dude, I see you everywhere. I see your signs everywhere. I see your billboard everywhere. I hear you guys on the radio. And then all of a sudden you pop up on my TV in a commercial. Oh, and then I get something in my mailbox from you, right? So that's kind of, force multiplier approach with your marketing message. You have to go back to behavior. So, right, like with billboards, people, I got to put this up there. I got to put this up there. No, you don't. Like, don't even put a phone number up there. Just put your name up there. Because what's behavior, right? I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to go, who's this Mikey Kavai Junior guy? Who is this, right? Who is he? What does he do, right? Then whatever Google told us. But think about behavior now. Go back to my point. 93% of searches did not end in a click. AI mode searches did not end in a click. So what does that mean? Hey, Google, I'm coming into this area. Who's the best real estate agent to show me, 4-bed, 3-bath properties on acre land in an HOA that's proximity to X, Y, and Z? Do you show up? Who's showing up? Because if it ain't you, whatever that AI is telling me, that's who I'm calling. Does that make sense? So you have to put your mind in the consumer. How is the consumer thinking? How are they behaving? I promise you, when they see your name, they're doing a couple things. They're either going to Google and using Gemini, they're getting on ChatGPT, but I can dang sure promise you they're going to Facebook and Instagram. You have to take those things very seriously of how you're showing up. So that's how your brand is in the marketplace. So we'll get into some of those things this after Leo. We kind of break down, because my goal for you today, walking out of here, is that you are 100% crystal clear of you know exactly what your main constraint is, and that's going to be your main focus going into this new year. Exactly. Because the problem is that if you choose to work on problem number 2 or problem number 3, then you get problem number 2 and problem number 3 outcome. That's incremental, little bumps. But if you know you got one major milestone, meaning you can't get consistent leads, and if you just go all in on getting consistent leads, then that's going to give you exponential bump in your business. Does that make sense? I just really want you guys walking out of here crystal clear, knowing exactly what it is that you're committed to work on, because that's going to give you the jump that you need to take your business to the next level into this year. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Like I told Laura yesterday, I'd be like, I'd be in bed right now if I didn't have the opportunity to come see you guys today. So thanks for allowing me to
Keep making us look good, John.
we can tap dance for a little bit. What questions you guys have? Already got the wheels turning, which I love. Only takes a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You
John,
guys have it all figured out?
John, for people that don't have their ICP really dialed in, do you have a workthrough to go through that?
Yes. Yeah, just open up ChatGPT and just start having a conversation. Be like, hey, I have a real estate business in the greater Cleveland, Ohio market. Last year I did X, Y, and Z in production. Most of my business came from Y. I'm looking to 2X my business over the next 12, 18 months. And I'm looking for some help on who's going to be my best client. Ask me as many questions as you need, as long as you ask me one question at a time to help me identify what my ICP is.
I had to laugh because at first when I started going into it, I'm like, where's it finding all this stuff about me? Because I would ask a question and it says, well, you've been in the business for a long time. And I'm like, oh, I never told you that. and I've tried these conversations but
Yeah.
I find that for the people who kind of looked at it, it just, I used to always say, hey, sir, this and that question, okay? The amount of information it's back.
So if you have not read The AI-Driven Leader, please do so. We were in Seattle earlier this year, and we did the EXP Rally. Blaine came down, since he's only 2 hours away from Seattle, in Debbie. But we got Kendall fly across the country. So how many of you guys know who Kendall is? Kendall Bonner. She's incredible. We were on a panel, VIP panel, the night before the rally. We got done, and she stepped off, and she looked right at me, and she says, if you have not read The AI-Driven Leader, you must order it right now and make sure you read it as soon as you get it. Literally stopped right there, got on Amazon, clicked the book. By the time I got home from Seattle, it was there, and I started reading. What it does is it helps you understand the AI's role in your life and your business. The AI doesn't lead you, you lead it. And just the right framework to be able to utilize that. So highly, highly recommend that. Obviously, paying attention to Glenn. So you got to have some people out at the forefront that you're paying attention to with it, that you're going to get really sound, concrete advice. Glenn is one of the best. The other is Eric Post that built Who's. So what I would love for all of you guys to do for Eric, and I highly recommend you just read it. So if you go to ericpost.ai, and read his manifesto. It's 10 pages on that website. That'll help you get your head around the direction that I believe as we move into the future. Eric Post, ERICPOST.ai, and read the manifesto. Like I said, it's real short, it's 10 pages, but he's got some great distinctions in there that'll make you go, okay, I get it. And what he's also referring to in there is that we've been kind of in this knowledge worker kind of era. And even us as professionals, right? We used to be able to put a guard around the information, right? But that guard's gone. The buyers and sellers can find the same, they can get the same access to the data that we all have. What do we bring into the conversation? What do we bring into to become more valuable with the AI-driven consumer?
The connections and the relationships with the other realtors.
And it's exactly what I was talking with your mom about was we bring wisdom to the conversation, right? You bring the nuances, you bring the failures, you bring the experiences, you bring those connections, you bring the little nuances. That's what we bring into the future beyond the knowledge side of things, right? The thing is that one way to think, the creatives are going to really thrive moving into the future because the AI will handle all of the logic, but our job is to make the connections.
Start the meeting, Mark.
I did.
Okay.
Boom.